Yeah.
Okay,
Ready?
take two. Take
All
two.
right.
Yep, I'm ready.
Welcome to the Good Muscle Hustle podcast. We have
You're
a
recording?
special
Oh,
guest.
record
We're
it.
recording.
Yeah, we're recording.
Okay.
We have a special guest, Dev. Can you please introduce yourself and kind of give us a little background for our listeners today?
Sure thing. Thank you guys for having me on. My name is Devya Fluckiger. I am a registered nurse and a holistic nutrition, wellness, and fitness coach online. I worked as a nurse for almost 4 years now and been a coach for a couple years now. Essentially just got into coaching after taking care of a lot of very, very unhealthy people in the internal medicine area of Western medicine, and felt like a lot of the issues I came across in the hospital can be very much prevented just with holistic lifestyle interventions, which got me really into it, long story short. So here we are.
Awesome.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I wholeheartedly agree with, some of this, like most of the stuff that you see, especially like on the nursing side of it. Most of my entire family is in the healthcare industry, whether it's LPN, RN, whether it's geriatrics, working anywhere and everywhere in the hospital. You know what I mean? I've had the conversations with my mom about, if people can just understand how to properly nutrition and understand what their daily habits are and kind of conform to a better, healthier lifestyle, a lot of the stuff goes away.
It's crazy because like it seems so simple, right? That there's simple things you need to do every day to take care of your body. And I feel like people think that it's supposed to be some crazy commoditized magic solution to their problems. And then when clients come to me and I'm like, eat more whole foods, eat more protein, eat fiber, and get your ass outside in the sun. They're like, really? That's it? I'm like, yeah, really.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, where exactly are you located at?
I'm in Calgary, Alberta, Canada.
Okay, Alberta, Canada. That's right.
Where are you guys?
We're at Kansas, middle of nowhere, Kansas.
Kansas.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Our population demographic is just shy of 30,000 people. So.
Oh, tiny. Okay.
Mhm.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Oh yeah.
You've been there long? Like, is that where you're born?
We're both born and raised here, and then I shipped out Marines for 9 years, and then came back after my 9 year stint. Just my entire family's here, so I missed a lot being out there 9 years and then coming back. So I wanted to plant my seed here again, and then stay here with family. So.
Oh shit. Well, thank you for your service, man.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Let's go. And I know most of your family's here, right?
Yeah, I'm basically born and raised here in Emporia.
Okay, awesome. And then how long have you been in the industry yourself?
I've been in the industry coming on 7 years now.
Okay, you look so young. You literally look like you're 19. So
Yeah.
I'll take it.
I can't fucking tell.
I'll take it. Yeah, I get it all the time. I'm 29. I started 7 years minus that.
22.
Yeah.
Yeah. Still early. Math is hard.
Well, good on you, man. That's amazing. Yeah, no, you look like 5 years younger than me. I would not have guessed. Whatever you're doing, it's working.
You're 5 years young. I'll be 38 here in August, so I'm not that young.
You're 38?
I'll be 38 here in August. Yeah.
Oh shit. Yeah, and I'm the youngest one here. I'm 26.
26. There you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Right on. So let's I kind of want to dig into like the psychology behind nutrition, especially when it comes to like the female demographic, that population especially. I know just from my experience, and I know from talking with Alex and stuff, they are the hardest demographic to get on board with properly nutrition and understanding that you have to eat to lose weight, you have to eat to make progress, you have to eat to perform. And their biggest issue, especially for me, is you get the 35 to 45-year-old female says, I want to weigh the same as I did in high school, or I want to look the same as I did in high school. And it's a rinse repeat process, every single one that comes through the door. And I can see you're shaking your head. You probably come across that a lot on your end too. So kind of give us a kind of a dirty detailed breakdown as far as, how do you go about your process? How do you do your intake, and kind of, how do you get them to come around and jump on the wagon on your end?
Yeah, there's a few pieces I want to touch on there. So to start, it's it's hard when we live in the past. It's like,
Hmm.
you're not 18 years old anymore. Your body is not the same. Your hormones are not the same. 35 to 40, that's around perimenopausal stage,
Yeah.
right? That's when your body's transitioning from being fertile to not fertile anymore, right?
Hmm.
That's when your estrogen starts to go down. Sorry, your estradiol, your E2 starts to go down, then your E1 starts to take over, which is much weaker, right?
Hmm.
And then it actually affects your ability to regulate your cortisol. It affects your ability to regulate your blood sugar the same. And like your ability, like the need to manage your stress is that much more important.
Yeah.
And for a lot of these women, they've been under eating for so long, which is a form of stress to the body, right? So when they've been doing it for so fucking long, their body's holding on to body fat like a security blanket because they're trying to store nutrients in any form and any which way they can, right? So when they've been under eating for that long and whatnot, they come to you being like, oh, I need to lose weight. And they've been
Hmm.
told by society and magazines and shit, you need to just eat less and lose weight. And it's like, okay, well, only for so long, because your
Yeah.
body is smarter than you. Your body's
Hmm.
main priority is to survive. So in my initial like intake process, I essentially, I need to get a recall of, what they've been eating, for how long they've been eating that way. And then I don't just look at what they've been eating as well. I also look at, okay, what is your lifestyle been looking like? What's your stress management like?
Hmm.
Because I look at all factors, all factors of people's lives, all factors of their lifestyle regime as balancing a bank account is my analogy. So for example, working out extra hard, eating lower calories, not getting much sleep, being a workaholic, that kind of thing, those are all withdrawals on your bank account.
Hmm.
Versus when you actually eat more, when you actually get adequate sleep, when you take an extra rest day, and when you get outside more in the sun, those are all deposits on the stress bank account. So I outline this and I use this analogy with clients so that they can actually get a better understanding. And I'm like, hey, guess what? You're in debt, buddy. And they're like,
Yeah.
oh shit. So just to give them that analogy kind of helps them get a better picture to start. And then like, okay, so we're going to start with feeding you a bit more and consistently. And so I have daily habits that I have my clients fill out on top of my weekly check-ins. And in the daily habits, the purpose of it is start getting them in the habit of getting a feel for how what they do every day, how that affects what their body communicates to them.
Hmm.
So getting them to track, what they're eating, getting them to track, getting comfortable with the scale and weighing themselves and removing the emotion from it. That's a whole other can of worms. But anyway, there's that. And then on top of that, um, measuring out like biofeedback indicators. So on a scale of, 1 to 10, how is your energy today? How is the digestion feeling today? How is your sleep quality? How's the libido? Like all that kind of stuff. There's a few other like markers, but like getting them more cognizant of how starting to eat more is starting to actually improve those indicators.
Hmm.
So for that population you talked about, the older population, the perimenopausal population, I have an adorable client. I love her to bits. She's very much fits in this demographic. She came to me under eating. She's starting to have joint pain. And as soon as I got her eating more, she started to have more regular bowel movements. She started to have the joint pain was gone. And she's
Hmm.
like, holy shit. So just getting the clients to focus on what other areas to look for with improvement other than specifically the scale.
Yeah.
Because there can be minimal scale movement sometimes, but less joint pain, more strength, sometimes even decreases in waist circumference,
Hmm.
right? Like this client I'm talking about, she's actually gone down a pant size, and all I've done is feed her more. So like it's not just about eating less and just looking at the scale, because then that's going to be a freaking feedback loop from hell of seeing no progress, the
Hmm.
definition of insanity, trying the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result.
Yeah. No, I think the biggest roadblock that we see is, getting them away from the scale, and having them really understand where they're at in their life. I have a 53-year-old lady. She's premenopause, fighting thyroid issues right now, and she's complaining about not being able to lose weight. I was like, until all that stuff's completed and you figure out all your other levels, you need to balance out your progesterone, your estrogen, testosterone, make sure everything is well. I mean, I don't want you to focus on scale. I want you to focus on, let's just get you strong. I mean, let's make that incremental increases every other week or whatever on pressing legs or doing whatever, and then kind of attach our emotions to that aspect, not just the actual scale itself.
Yeah, like the scale, it's just one piece of data. There are so many other pieces to focus on depending on what phase the client is in, what the goal is. Oh, there was a piece that I was going to comment on. I forgot. You were saying, sorry, backpedal again. You were saying,
Yeah, premenopause. So she's
oh, the
fighting
thyroid.
like the thyroid stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So like essentially, was this client, under eating for a while?
I mean,
Yeah.
she's been under eating since high school, pretty much. Like I dug into her past and eating habits, no breakfast, a snack at lunch, and then a big dinner. That's it.
Oh my God. Okay, there's a couple pieces I want to touch on there. So one, the under eating for so long, right? Like your body's smart. It's going to slow down its metabolism in order to preserve energy. So when you've been under eating for so long, like I don't know the specific timeline slash full scientific explanation. All I can say is that when your body's trying to preserve energy, trying to survive, it's going to slow down, right? So that means there's going to be less release of thyroxine, right? The hormone that's being released by your thyroid. So that I can definitely see how long-term that would cause dysfunction. I don't know specifically the timeline at which it would take for it to actually dysfunction or lose function, but essentially like getting yourself to eat more, right, and consistently so while putting on the muscle is what's going to incline your thyroid to release more thyroxine to actually increase that metabolism. Because like it's actually interesting, there are other symptoms that go unnoticed or that people overlook when the thyroid is slowing down, like your circulation becomes really shitty. You get really cold all the time as well. This can actually affect your blood pressure too. And in terms of, you were talking about thyroid and one other thing. What's the other thing you said?
There was a thyroid and, just kind of balancing out her estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone balance in her own body. You know what I mean? Trying to, because she's premenopause. So all that stuff's coming into effect, and then still battling like a thyroid issue on top of going through that process too is, it's hard on the female body without introducing any other stresses.
That's perimenopause.
Perimenopause
Is before. Okay,
gotcha.
Definitely. While in perimenopause, that's the hardest transition to juggle when you go from pre to peri, because that's when there's no homeostasis, there's no balance. It's really hard to navigate that nutritionally speaking, which is why like the body's going through enough chaos as it is, trying to level itself out with, because essentially what happens is E2 estradiol starts to go down, right? And then it starts to try to compensate. Oh my God, no, it needs to go back up. And then it starts to go down again. Oh no, it needs to go back up. Then it starts to go back down again. So when all those fluctuations are happening, your cortisol levels start to go all out of whack too. That plus under eating, we're going to bump up the cortisol levels more. And the thyroid's going to start to slow down to be like, okay, we're already expending so much energy. We're stressed out as fuck. I'm just going to calm down and just not release as much. So it's just all this chaos, all these moving pieces from a hormonal standpoint. So the best thing you can do, nutritionally speaking, is to give your body at least some form of consistency of feeding it more on a regular basis. And then it has something consistent that it can rely on. So I think giving clients that picture to look at helps them.
Yeah, tremendously. I think it does too. I mean, when I have that conversations with the female clients and say, hey, I need you to eat more. I need you to be consistent with that stuff. And we're probably going to see a slight uptick on that scale for a couple of weeks. And then all of a sudden your body's going to go, hey, I can actually start using more energy. And then we should see a nice little decline from there. And it's I haven't seen more than 6 or 7 pounds in 2 weeks increase. It's not much. But as soon as that body kind of reverses and says, hey, I can expend more, it's a nice solid decline for a while. And it's just trying to get them over that fucking hump to say, hey, I need you to eat. I don't need you to be attached emotionally to the scale. It's just a data point, reference point for me to say, hey, let's adjust macros here and there after a couple of months and then kind of just balance everything out from there. So, and there's a lot of females that don't understand their own bodies too. Like all the stuff that you're saying, they're like, oh, I didn't know that. They're like, oh, I didn't know everything has to be well balanced inside my own internals to be able to perform well.
Yeah, and like that's something I preach about as well, that I talk about, that I do in my practice. Like as coaches, it is our job to also be the liaison between a client's mind and their body.
Mm-hmm.
And essentially, you're helping them with the game of telephone and telling them, hey, this is what your body's trying to communicate to you, and this is how you're responding. It's like being a therapist, you're mediating what their body is saying and what it needs, and getting clear on, hey, this is what your body's trying to explain that it needs. I understand you want this outcome, but your body's trying to tell you, you know what, honey, right now is not the time, kind of thing. That outcome being, usually fat loss, weight loss, that kind of thing. And yeah, definitely, it's a huge mind fuck for the client as well. So now, like, mindset honestly is 90% of the work of a coach. If a coach does not know how to communicate, does not know how to address a person's mindset, then they're not really cut it. They can't really cut it for the craft, in my opinion.
I mean,
so definitely addressing that is huge.
Yeah, I mean, they don't tell you that when you get into the industry either. Starting from a brand new coach getting in, it's like, holy fuck, I'm dealing with psychos sometimes, or or a lot of people who are just ignorant to the entire process. So you also have to know how to program. You have to know how to talk with people, and you have to be a salesman too. They don't talk about that either. You got to sell yourself as well to get clients and to have that client retention too. But you hit the word therapist. I think when it's all said and done, when we're 40 years into this thing, we're gonna have a doctorate in therapy, just talking with individuals.
No, exactly. Trust too. Trust is the biggest piece. So like, I'll be honest, I don't like the term selling myself. I don't see it that way.
Okay.
Personally. The way that I see it is just the ability to communicate and connect with people, like being genuinely yourself. So I guess one could word it as selling yourself. I don't like the phrase sell. Personally, I don't know.
It kind of sounds like a derogatory phrase, right? I don't mean it like that, but it's just be yourself. You got to. The people aren't buying the program; they're buying you, so to speak. You know what I mean?
No, totally. Yeah, they're buying you. They're buying the connection that they have with you. Because as you guys both said, the trust is the most important piece, because without that trust, without that healthy open dialogue, because it is a form of relationship you're forming, a coaching client relationship. So without that trust, without that healthy open dialogue, then you're going to eventually at some point hit a roadblock in the client's progress. And, without that trust, without the connection, it's there's not really much investment in the process on either the coaches or the clients, and in my opinion.
Definitely agree with that aspect of it for sure.
Yeah. I was gonna say something. Yeah. So like when I have conversations now, I really communicate like the teamwork aspect of coaching, and like that's kind of a big indicator for me whether like I'm gonna take this client or not. Because like everything you're saying as far as communication and being able to build trust with the client, like a big thing for me is like, look, like this is teamwork with you and I, which requires lots of communication, because I'm not just going to sit here like a drill sergeant and like tell you what to do and you mindlessly follow me. Like you have to learn why you're doing these things in order, whenever this program or duration of whatever we're doing is done, like what you're doing and you can continue to be healthy and make progress. Because I think there's just a huge learning gap with nutrition, especially with just everybody. Like people just like we think of it like second nature, like what we're doing, because this is what we do, but like people have no idea like about food. I mean, I'm sure you've had conversations with people where it's like, oh, like you were saying, like, oh, I just eat more and get some sunshine and it's that simple. Like, yeah, kind of.
Yeah. Kind of, but like it's a start. Like just like the point is they're looking for some magic commoditized solution they haven't heard before, right? And like especially with bullshit products coming out, like I don't know if I'm allowed to name names, but like
Okay.
Go for it.
Okay, but like bullshit products like Optavia, like, you know, MLM
Mhm.
corporations trying to sell you their product and whatnot. And like when a client comes to me expecting, okay, just give me a meal plan, I'm like, I can't just give you a meal plan. I need to
Mhm.
understand what you're doing right now so that we can actually build some sustainable changes. And like
Yeah.
I've been constantly every few months updating my check-in form to really refine my ability to really suss out not just the client's habit, you know, big rock building blocks, but also getting to understand, okay, right now, where are you at mentally? How invested are you in the process? How open is that channel between the dialogue between your body and your brain, right? And there's actually a couple questions I had, and they're like, one of them was like, you know, are the current habits we're doing right now, does this feel sustainable for you that you could do for the rest of your life? So then
Mhm.
I can actually cater my programming with them accordingly. Because no, it's not a one size fits all kind of thing. So if a client comes to me wanting a one size fits all meal plan, I'm like, you can find that online. You can find that on Google for free. You don't need to pay for me
Right.
because I'm here to actually guide you through the entire process that works for you for life. This isn't a quick fix kind of thing. This isn't just like a pill solution and like, or
Mhm.
yeah, like baloney stuff like Ozempic. Like it's really, really frustrating and hard to read
Oh.
about, not just from a coaching standpoint, but also from a
Mhm.
nursing standpoint. And it's frustrating when again people are looking for quick solutions. They don't want to think about
Mhm.
it. Unfortunately, people have become very lazy.
Yeah. I mean,
to
lazy
be
is a
quite blunt.
lazy is a great fucking word. And like you hit the term Ozempic. It's actually what is it's a diabetic medicine, right? But it actually facilitates with weight loss as well. If
It's an
I'm
appetite suppressant, especially, is the
yeah.
biggest piece. That's why people are very into it. There's another brand new medication that came out as well that I just heard
Mhm.
about. I can't think of the name. I'm starting to block these names out of my head because I really
Yeah.
don't give two shits. Because the problem is when you just shut down hunger cues, you're not actually addressing the numerous factors that which
Yeah.
can be affecting your hunger cues,
Mhm.
right? Like hunger and cravings, things that can be affecting is A, eating like shit. Your body's like, okay, you're eating a bunch of empty calories. Okay. And then also there's stuff like that can affect your hunger cues and cravings, like a lack of sleep. Studies have
Yeah.
actually proven that a lack of sleep can, one, reduce your impulse control. So it actually affects your prefrontal cortex when you don't have enough sleep. Okay. And two, it can actually affect your taste palate. It literally
Hmm.
affects your taste palate. So
Mhm.
like it makes you eat shit you don't usually eat. So usually turning from the whole food stuff to the junk food, right?
Mhm.
And then that turns into a whole domino effect because you're feeding the unhealthy bacteria in your gut. And another sign of unhealthy gut health is actually having cravings.
Mhm.
So it's just this whole I just see a whole fire dumping into another dumpster fire. And it's like
Yeah.
if you're just taking an appetite suppressant to make you want to eat less, but you're not looking at what are the root causes that which can be affecting my appetite regulation, then you're just going to gain it back.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's you hit the nail on the head with that one too, is address the underlying problem first before jumping on a
But
pill or jumping on a shot or something like that. It's you're just band-aiding the solution. You're not actually overcoming the problem. I mean, it's
but
the
again though,
instinct.
right, that requires work and
It
time
does. It
that
does.
people do not want to put in.
And people are fucking lazy. We'll just go ahead and say that. I don't care if I offend anybody, to be honest with you. But people are going to want that instant gratification. They're going to want that instant results. I mean, they want to drop 6, 7 pounds a week. It's like, no, you might go 2 or 3 months without even dropping a single pound.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
and it's
It's everybody's going to have their own journey process, their own timeline. And just the general population doesn't understand that, especially if they're super ignorant. Just it's their first week of working out. They have no understanding of anything.
it's
And
that, and I don't want to just be like people are lazy because they want to be lazy, but
mhm,
it's essentially there's a couple prongs that affect people's inclination to actually be patient and put in the work and understand the actual concept of delayed gratification. But it's because I blame marketing. I blame modern technology, modern advancements in terms of things becoming so accessible and so convenient to people that that's what they assume is what will happen when it comes to our side of things in terms of getting them to like get some long-term sustainable healthy results. So educating them on that is again half the job. And it's just because like when I make a plan and if a client doesn't see the progress as fast as they want, I'm like, okay, but I need to see you consistently doing this for a while, right? And then also like when you have these check-ins and clients are expecting macro changes every week, I'm like, not necessarily, actually. No, that's not how it works. The body looks to make patterns. It looks to see consistent things happening first before you can make changes, because your body needs to have a little bit of time to adapt and acclimate, for which it will, right? And it same thing with like when it comes to the clients that have been under eating for a long time, right? Your body's just smart. Your body's like, okay, I've seen you eat 1,500 calories before, so no, I'm not going to lose any weight. No dice, sorry. Because again, your body's smart, and it identifies, recognizes patterns. So you just have to introduce healthier patterns and or patterns that it needs at that time, at whatever block that they're in their training or their nutrition.
No, I love that. Sure.
Yeah, I want to throw something your way and maybe give some context for maybe if this person is listening to this podcast and maybe they can take something from this. But if let's say, I know there's a lot of variables here. So like just a kind of a general idea, like let's say you get a lady in late 30s, 40s area. She's been under eating for quite some time. And I find that there are very common cases where like this person is also training 6 to 7 days a week. Maybe not resistance training every single day, but like 45 minutes of cardio, doing resistance training, under eating. Like, what is your like, all right, this is what we're going to begin with. This is how we're going to modify like what you're doing right now. And then kind of like give us a little bit of like, so if someone were listening, they could go, okay, maybe I'll try this and see what happens. Does that make sense?
It does make sense.
Okay.
So some women do, I'm going to give two possible scenarios here. Okay. Scenario one, let's say this woman is still getting their period and are not yet in perimenopause. If they're still getting it, well, supposed to be, if they're not perimenopausal, this person, if they've been under eating like crazy, they actually might not even have a regular period. Great. So I would assist this client in reverse dieting them back to, so like gradually increasing their calories until we get to that maintenance calories. And what helps me ascertain whether or not they're at maintenance calories is if they are starting to get a regular period back, which does come back relatively quickly within a few weeks. So we'd be doing that, and we'd also reduce the cardio. So if they're doing cardio like 5 times a week, I'd be like, okay, this week we're just doing cardio 3 times a week. And or if you want to do cardio every day, okay, cool, but starting 45 minutes, we're gonna go for like 20 minutes. So starting with that, and also if the intensity is high, I would reduce the intensity and be like, let's just go for a walk outside. If you need to, run, scream your head off, let's just moderate that. So I try to meet a client with the rat, try to find a happy medium from the training side of things, because I do get the mental part of it. I'm a bit of a crackhead at the gym sometimes. I love doing like hardcore shit. Like it's fun and whatnot. So again, it's happy medium, right? Like do indulge in the things you like a little bit when it comes to the gym, but then also give yourself the carrots and the meat of what you need from the gym too. So there's that side of it. Nutritionally speaking, it's just gradually increasing the calories and getting them to focusing on other biofeedback indicators. So one, the period coming back, if they're not perimenopausal. If they are perimenopausal, that's fine. We'll just look at the other biofeedback indicators. So like sleep quality is a huge one that improves. Libido is one that improves quite a bit. Energy, strength, joints, how your joints feel. Also just like focus, mental clarity, that kind of thing. And something else I wanted to actually mention before I forget, with perimenopausal women, a huge mistake you can make is skipping breakfast. It's a huge mistake, because when you wake up, that's when your cortisol is already the highest in the morning. So we don't need to spike it up any higher necessarily. So it's just, especially like women who are perimenopausal, when they work out fasted, that's like the biggest thing. That's a huge bone that I have to pick, that I have to start with. It's like, you don't have to eat a huge meal, just literally blend a banana with some protein. It's and like it can be thin consistency if you want, so it's not too filling, but then that actually helps so much with the workout, with the actual like having the fuel to work out with, that it really helps with the healthier cortisol curve, essentially. Otherwise, instead of it having the morning surge and starting to go down, you have the morning surge, spikes up a little bit higher before it starts to go a bit more down. We want the gentle ski slope is what we want for the cortisol curve. But anyway, yeah. So like I would just start with eating a bit more consistently. Like it would just start with an extra couple hundred calories for a week or two.
Yeah.
And then after another week or two, another couple extra hundred until we find a maintenance where the scale's not moving too much, staying right about there. And you're noticing your strength gains are coming up. And other things you can look at, you can do like a waist measurement to help if the scale is not giving you all the data. Like if the pants are getting tighter, and then women freak out. I just had a conversation with a client about this, that I've been reverse dieting. She was like, the pants are getting tighter. I'm like, around the waist or the glutes? Just the glutes, not really the waist. So focus on things like that as well, I would say. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think, people, like a lot of the conversation I have are kind of around that, where it's like, well, I don't really eat that much, so that's not an issue. And I'm also training 6 to 7 days a week. And like, that's like 2 red flags already for me, like off the bat. I'm like, okay. So I think that would help like any listener, but it gives me a little bit of clarity too, because that's kind of like exactly where I go as well. Like, all right, so let's bring cardio down. And if you still like you said, like there's a medium between like meeting like what they enjoy and what they like need to be doing. And it's like, all right, if you have to do cardio every day, let's bring intensity down and time down. And just it's like you said in the beginning, like with the withdrawal and deposits, like you're taking so much money out. Like we've got to put money back in, otherwise you're in the negative. So it's kind of the same idea. So yeah, that was great. I had something else too for you. Oh, so with the like the biometrics, is that something that you include in your check-ins with everybody? Like clarity of their mind and energy, libido, like all those questions you have with your weekly check-ins?
Yeah, absolutely. It's in my intake form, it's in my daily habits, and it's in my check-ins. So it is kind of a bit of a clinical nursing mindset as well for me. So this is like a nursing assessment kind of thing for how it works for me. But yeah, it's like in the initial intake, there's like a symptom questionnaire that I have the clients fill out, kind of thing. And then it's in the daily habits where they just kind of mark from a scale of 1 to 10. How's the energy? How's the digestion? How's the libido? How's the concentration? How's the performance at the gym? Overall mood as well. Because and then there's an additional note section where I'm like, knock yourself out, elaborate a bit more, that kind of thing. Digestion is a huge one for me as well when it comes from a hormone regulation standpoint, and just from a ability to actually it's not just about what you physically put in the tank, but also if your body's actually able to properly absorb and you make use of those nutrients. Because if your digestion is not there and not working, then well, we're fucked. So we need to work on that first. Otherwise just focusing on macros isn't gonna cut it. So it's taking it case by case. And yeah, the symptoms are a huge one for me because there's so many to keep an eye out for. And the scale is usually like the least interesting part of the check-in for me. It's just one little piece. The rest is how all the other biofeedback indicators are telling me.
Yeah. No, I think there's definitely something to be said about getting away from the actual scale and understand, just how we're feeling throughout the day and all those other things that you just mentioned too. And kind of want to segue to the next topic is females. I think the trend is exploding nowadays with TRT, like pellets and stuff like that, getting testosterone. What's your take on that?
Sorry, on females taking TRT?
Do what?
On females taking TRT? Or
females taking TRT? Females specifically. It's exploding here. And I mean, I think it's more of, they get the libido boost, they get the energy boost, they get the muscle increase, stuff like that. But I don't think they really have a true understanding of the detrimental impacts of, hey, let's make sure our hormones are in check first. Let's make sure all of our nutrition's dialed in, all of your biofeedback indicators are doing well first. And then let's see, hey, after that, if that's a intervention that we want to implement, then you can go see your endocrinologist or you can go see a physician who specializes in that. That's definitely a big
Yeah.
one. That's a big one in the States for sure, especially that and the Ozempic with
Yeah.
the food suppressing.
Honestly, all this is all literally in the same trend of I want to feel better now, I want to feel better
Hmm.
yesterday. Just give me a quick solution. That's literally all it is.
Yeah.
So it's like dot your I's, cross your T's. There are very few people who actually like need TRT. So like
Hmm.
if you are a man and you're an andropause, for example, right?
Hmm.
Then for sure, like, and if you're doing like all the lifestyle habits you need to be doing, and you're taking small, minute amounts, and you're getting your blood work checked regularly. You're making
Hmm.
sure that your liver enzymes are looking okay, because most of these people who take TRT and who use substances that they do not understand end up fucking up their livers, end
Yeah.
up fucking up their kidneys. So it's like, hey, just check your kidney function, check your liver function. Might as well get a like dot your I's, cross your T's with your blood work. Like get that checked regularly. But for people who do not need it, it's yeah, people can grab this shit on the street these days. And you know what? Like I I'm telling you right now, people are reducing their lifespans
Yeah.
sometimes when they're doing this shit. Like because they're looking for a quick instant like fix. Yeah, so my thoughts are plainly if you have dotted your I's and crossed your T's and you are just not getting that healthy uptake of testosterone that you need, do what you need to do with your physician
Hmm.
or person that you're working with, the hormone therapist in that regard. But otherwise, like, again, not to be a dick, but like, don't be lazy. Like, are you doing all the things you need to be doing? Like, there's so many things that affect your testosterone. So many things. Eating processed shit's going to reduce your testosterone. Not getting outside actually reduce your testosterone.
Hmm.
Xenoestrogens, phytoestrogens. Xenoestrogens are environmental pollutants that actually increase your estrogen.
Hmm.
Phytoestrogens coming from food, a lot of soy products, GMOs, like that kind of thing. Like when as soon as you actually address all of those things first, your testosterone will naturally go up to the level that it needs to be at. We don't need
Hmm.
to just introduce more. And the thing is, another thing that's detrimental to doing this is the body is smart in terms of if you're introducing excess exogenous forms of a hormone that it makes at the endogenous level, it's going to make less of its own.
Hmm.
That it actually increases dependency on the exogenous form. So you're kind of just fucking yourself up, fucking yourself
Yeah.
over anyways. That's my opinion.
Yeah. No, I like that a lot. You know, you hit something too I wanted to touch on. I think physiology kind of some of the research came out. So the human body actually is able to live to like 120 years old nowadays. You know, it's just the stuff that we do that shortens our lifespan. Like all the new medicine, like Western medicine, is just fucking driving that number down, 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 and down. So it's just
It's
no,
yeah.
I really love the holistic approach to a lot of things, not just when it comes to fitness and industry, just with the holistic approach to just everyday, natural habits. You know what I mean? Let's not jump to the supplemental aspect of things. Let's not jump to, medicine intervention right away. Let's understand, what's the symptom? What do we think's causing it? And see if we can address that on a more natural aspect of things. And then say, hey, if I can't get it undone, then let's go get intervention with medicine. Kind of like the Tylenol epidemic or like the aspirin and ibuprofen, stuff like that. All those studies that are coming back, ibuprofen is being directly linked to what is it? What's the word I'm looking for? Alzheimer's.
Oh shit.
Yeah, like direct link, and they're talking like 200 milligrams a week. Yeah, bad stuff.
You'll have to send me this study. I'm curious to have a look.
Yeah, I
Is it
think
a
it's
study or
a
like a meta-analysis?
I think it's a study, and then there's another meta-analysis. I'll have to shoot you those over, but it's just within the last 2 to 3 years that they're coming out with some of that stuff.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, no, in general, like here's the thing. Western medicine does have a place. I'm
Hmm.
not like there some people take things to extreme, only holistic, only Western medicine. Like
Mhm.
in my utopia, okay, we will just find the happy medium.
Mhm.
Like, can we just stop taking shit to the extremes? Let's just like, I'm really trying to teach people. I'll be coming out with more content about this at some point. I'm just trying to find a way to word it so it's not too aggressively polarizing, but I'm just trying to educate people on
Mhm.
understanding which practitioner, which specialist to see when kind of thing. So like a really great example that I have to say is my mom. When she was in her 30s, she had breast cancer.
Mhm.
And she, of course, Western medicine gave her chemo, treated her with chemo after she had a mastectomy on one side. But there were, of course, side effects to the chemo. So she
Mhm.
managed to balance out the side effect of the chemo with a naturopath that she went to. So, like, she developed uh, an infection as a result of the chemo, but instead of needing antibiotics, I forgot what supplement the naturopath gave her. But the naturopath gave her like a holistic or herbalistic supplement of some sort, and it went away. She's
Mhm.
having troubles with constipation. Instead of taking shit from Western medicine, literally, she just went and got her bowels massaged with the naturopath.
Mhm.
So just like she didn't need to take any other medication, nothing else to balance the side effects. So I just want to educate people on which specialist, which practitioner to see when and where. And a huge population I find where this is an issue are people with IBS.
Mhm.
It's a huge issue where Western medicine is being overused and abused, where they're taking, like some people develop IBS as a result of abusing Western medicine interventions and not going to the more holistic interventions.
Yeah. No,
And what's
I can
frustrating for
oh,
me,
go
sorry,
ahead.
just what's frustrating for me is when the specialists themselves don't seem to have the mindset of, hey, you actually might not need to use my services with this. Like you come to a
Mm-hmm.
doctor for a pill to cover up a symptom, and
Mhm.
it's like, you know what, let's see if we can change some lifestyle interventions or go see this person to help you with your lifestyle interventions. Go see maybe the naturopath or the functional medicine doctor. If people could put away their egos, learn to stay in their lane and refer accordingly, that is what my ideal utopia looks like.
Yeah, I think that that definitely would be the perfect scenario for sure. I know for me, at a younger age, I was diagnosed with IBS, and the more and more I think about it, the more and more I think it was just more the food that I was intaking. It wasn't really the whole food diet as a 20-year-old, military guy. The amount of Red Bulls, the amount of like nicotine I was intaking, all that stuff. Got out, cleaned up. I haven't had fast food in fucking 10 years. Like my diet consists of like 95% whole food. I'll dabble a little bit with some snacks, like some treats here and there, but I haven't had any sort of, stomach pains, any sort of like bowel movement issues, anything like that that associates with IBS. But I think it's more, a lifestyle thing than it is an actual like fucking problem or an actual, issue with the body.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Literally just getting down to the food. I've had a couple gut health clients, like presenting with IBS symptoms.
Mm-hmm.
And literally all we do to start is experiment with having them like avoid a couple inflammatory foods, like FODMAP foods. But then in the
Mm-hmm.
meantime, it's like, okay, let's get an electrodermal food intolerance test. What I love about the electrodermal food intolerance test in comparison to a standard Western medicine food allergy test is you don't need to eat food that you are intolerant to in order to get the results that you're looking for. And
Mm-hmm.
B, it gives you a more full spectrum of the level of severity that which you are intolerant to a food, not just severely allergic, because all these micro inflammations can build up and then cause all these symptoms. So just doing that, getting them to like write and like start a food journal where they
Mm-hmm.
write out foods that have them feeling inflamed, have them feeling bloated, have them running to the bathroom within the first couple hours after eating a meal. Within about 30 minutes to like the next few hours, depending on where it's at in your digestive tract. Um, just starting with that, as opposed to I've had clients where they've gone to Western medicine and the doctor just prescribes them like immunosuppressive therapy,
Mm-hmm.
severe immunosuppressive therapy when they actually do not need to be taking it. And then they're already, as a result, they're more prone to getting sick on top of already being more prone to being sick because their gut was already inflamed. Having
Mm-hmm.
an inflamed gut predisposes a person to being sick. And then on top of taking now the immunosuppressive medication, it's
Mm-hmm.
just this ongoing effect of dominoes.
Yeah.
And it just does not need to happen if you can solely look at what you're putting in the tank.
Yeah. No, it's just it's a vicious cycle when it comes to proper nutrition. And it's just trying to, like, on your end, it's definitely an uphill battle. I mean, we're looking at the peak of Mount Everest we're on the bottom right now trying to educate people, and we're looking way up there. So it's definitely a big uphill battle just with everything. So
Yeah.
yeah. One last thing. I always ask people this: what's your biggest gripe when it comes to the fitness industry? What's the biggest thing? I just want you to fucking go just 110% ballistic. Just fucking get it out. Let's fucking hear it, Dev.
Well, I don't know. I feel like we kind of already touched on it, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's just looking for these quick and instant solutions, hopping along the quick and the quick, like the latest fad when it comes to the newest, coolest workout, weird program / variation out there. Because what it does is it does a couple things. So on the fitness side of things, it kind of detracts from having a person actually get good at the skill and the quality of the essential movements they need to be doing in the gym, right? And then from the food side of things, again, it's just like it detracts from them learning how to just adhere to a habit. Like, do we see a trend here, guys? Like, just the overall trend is get good at the essential movements you need to be doing at the gym for the sake of your overall bodily function, strength, use as a functional machine. And then on the other side of it, on the nutritional side of things, just again looking for a quick solution. It detracts from learning how to be aware of how your body functions at the nutrition side and how your body moves on the fitness side. So there's no dialogue there. There's no dialogue between the brain and the body. And like on the fitness side of things, like it's getting people getting people to learn and understand how to be a lot more present and mindful with their body instead of the people are essentially, the trend is people are mindlessly going through the motions. I'm just gonna hit the gym because I need to hit the gym so I can look a certain way, instead of learning how to be like, hey, how does my body feel when I slightly change my position when I'm trying to figure out my squat? Like, how does my body feel when I actually have, after working on these hip mobility exercises, after incorporating more stability work at the beginning of my workout? How does that improve my split squats, my barbell squats, that kind of thing? Versus I'm just gonna try out this boot camp this week, I'm gonna try out this other boot camp this other week, that kind of thing. Those are like my biggest pet peeves, essentially.
Yeah, I think a big thing too is it takes away the consistency of the entire journey.
Yeah,
you're gonna try a 4-week program, then you're gonna jump over to a different program. You're not able to get the skill and build on that skill. Like for me, most of my clients are GP. I have a couple of athletes. I mean, I have some older people who just keep moving stuff like that, but they get really good at 5 to 6 different movements, and then we send it to the fucking house once they're good at that. And we're able to make a lot more progress in trying to teach them 15, 16 different movements. And the runway forward progressions, or the runway for success, goes 10 miles instead of 2 miles. So
yeah, exactly. Like even for the athlete clients, like there's levels of athlete,
for
right?
sure.
I was talking with Killian about this, like the athlete that's like not being paid to do whatever sport kind of thing. Like they're just, and what makes a person an athlete is actually the ability to problem solve, the ability to address, hey, why can't I get this movement down? Let's really work on this. So like that's what he said to me. He was like, what makes you an athlete is because like I've been working my ass off and figuring out how the fuck to do my placement, my squat, and I finally found a really good sweet spot after addressing all my unique anatomical variations. I have longer femurs. My femoral head sits deeper into my acetabulum. As a result, that affects my QL angle. So just like addressing how to find that good like upper body to lower body rhythm with that proper elevator down up movement, finally hitting that spot after months, literally months of driving myself crazy, driving Killian crazy, and trying to figure that out. That he was like, that's what makes you an athlete, is that ability to actually work and problem solve, right? Versus the other level of athletes, like the one that gets paid to do a fucking sport. But like even then, like there are always things that you need to learn how to do. And I sometimes worry about, like, oh, not worry. I was thinking the other day, that the athletes who get paid to do their sport, like, I wonder if they actually do cover all their bases, or they're only focusing on tunnel vision. Just, I need to be good at this thing. So once they retire from said sport, they probably still have other foundational work they can do after.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just my theory behind, athletes, my training is not sport specific. My training is, I'm gonna make you a better human, functional across the board on a global approach, not just for specific training, because that's for, that's for the practices, that's for the skill work, is to get better at that sport. But for me, I want to make you a better human first, and then get you ready in the off season. Then you can go get your practices and then do all that jazz and get better at that specific skill.
100%. Yeah. Like, get good at the quality of the movement. You don't need to mindlessly throw your body in a bunch of planes of movement just for the sake of breaking a sweat. That's literally what people are doing. And I'm like, you people look stupid. I understand. I respect that you're trying to move your body because movement's good for you. But, like, can we just be mindful about what movements we're doing and why? Do you understand why we're doing this? That kind of thing. That's kind of also how I've changed some of my check-in questions with my clients too, is, can you give me the why we are doing this?
Yeah, I'm a big 5 why guy. So when I write programs and when I do anything, I like to be intentful with the stuff that I put in there, and I'd like to attach, at least 3 to 5 whys. Why are we doing this first, before just blindly saying, hey, I want you to go do a fucking goblet squat with heels elevated. I want to know why. Why do I need to do that aspect of it, for sure? So, hell yeah. I've loved this podcast, by the way. It's been really enlightening on our ends, for sure. We struggle a lot, and we get success with it, but the biggest constraint is what we talked about, is getting people to really understand on an intimate level what nutrition is and what that looks like, not just on the scale, but how to transfer that into your daily habits and what those feedbacks kind of need to look like. So.
Yeah, and like, it's a lack of education. Like, it's not like people don't want to take care of their bodies. It's not like people want to treat their bodies like shit. It's just empowering them with the knowledge. Knowledge is power. Teach them the things that they actually need to know, and, like, what do I need to look out for to know that I'm doing the right things? Then that's actually going to compel a client into actually taking care of their body long term.
Yep, absolutely.
Keeping it simple, But thank you guys for having me, and, like, I really enjoy this.
Thank you for your time. Thank you for your time. Thanks for joining us. We'll have to get you on again. Yeah, and we'll fix the mic problem in the beginning.
100%. You guys had me anytime. I'd be totally down to come on again. I love nerding out about this shit. I love educating people. I love kind of breaking through a lot of misconceptions that people are given that with the content that they consume. So clearing out that fog too.
You got to tell our listeners how to get in contact with you, where to follow you, how to reach out to you for anything.
For sure. I'm most active on my Instagram. So that'd be the best place to follow me. So my Instagram is dev.divinewellness. So DEV.DEVINE_wellness is where to find me. Shoot me a message anytime, and I'm usually relatively quick with my responses. We can troubleshoot wherever you feel stuck and get you going.
Awesome. Thank you, Dev.
Yeah,
appreciate you.
Yep.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Yep, I'll see you in the labs for sure.
Have a great rest of the day.
Yep.
See you guys.
Bye.
Bye.